Why did you click on this video? Do you really feel like you're a disappointment? If so, who dictates that? What makes you feel bad? Perhaps your family, your friends, society? Or maybe yourself? Maybe you sabotage yourself and haven't realized it. Every individual navigates the journey of life following their own rules, dictating their own behavior, and defining who they want to be. However, there are moments when those rules may lack the necessary firmness, and we end up breaking them. It is true that some rules governing our lives are imposed by society, and one of the most common is the expectation of financial success. The notion that you must have money is a norm deeply rooted in contemporary society, and many people feel pressured by this expectation. The reality is that, in practice, complying with this rule can be a significant challenge for many. Economic circumstances, available opportunities, and other factors can influence a person's ability to achieve conventional financial success. Social pressure to succeed financially can make you feel discarded. The perception that you are a reject or a worthless failure can deeply affect how you see yourself and how society perceives you. Furthermore, another common norm is that you must find a partner or you must get married someday, and the failure to meet these rules often leads to feeling like an oddball, as if you don't fit conventional expectations imposed by society. And maybe, just maybe, you are the one who sees yourself as an oddball. These rules are simply a reflection of current society. Perhaps what is really happening is that you feel uncomfortable not following the steps of others, and that discomfort ends up turning into a feeling of worthlessness. A feeling of worthlessness that invades you, even though it's not your fault, forcing you to fulfill expectations that are not your own. It's no secret that a man loses social value if he doesn't have money. He is judged and labeled, seen as a failure, a disappointment. That's what society dictates. His value, his rating on a scale from 1 to 10, is measured according to his material possessions. Similarly, for a woman, it would be her body. A young and healthy body attracts much more, giving her a high value in her youth and generally decreasing her value as she ages. We've been accustomed to this kind of thinking, where each person is valued for things that we often cannot control, and these are rules that we often simply don't want to follow. These social stigmas are like indestructible pillars. They cannot be demolished because many people hold onto these rules. This ultimately means that from the moment you are born, you already have these social pressures. If you don't follow the rules, you automatically feel useless. But this isn't really your fault. Since you were a child, these rules were implanted in you. For example, you were raised essentially telling you that, regardless of what you like, you must get the best grades in school. Even if those subjects you must pass have nothing to do with achieving your dream, if your dream is to be the best artist in your city, your parents expect you to pass chemistry. If your dream is to be a great singer someday, your parents expect you to pass math. And even if you have no interest in math or chemistry, as a child, if you didn't pass those subjects, a sense of uselessness, sadness, or disappointment invaded you, all for not following the established rules that you didn't even impose on yourself, but were imposed by others from the day you were born. Now you reach adulthood, and it's still the same, only now the rules are not imposed by your parents, but by society. However, social judgment is nothing more than a habit that everyone ends up falling into, making you feel useless, like a disappointment, even though deep down you know you are not, that you are simply going a different path from other people or going at your own pace, or maybe both. Perhaps you are really trying. Perhaps you think that life has turned its back on you, that the world is closing in on you. Even going out for a coffee at a restaurant doesn't alleviate it, nor does watching a sunset. Maybe you feel empty. Perhaps you feel like you're trying to climb up an escalator backwards, giving the feeling that you're not making any progress. Suddenly, you look out the window and see others you know moving forward, being happy. They feel alive, but you wake up and feel as alive as your own bed. Suddenly, you're confused. You've made so many mistakes that you feel you're good for nothing. Any misstep seems destined to worsen your life. You really feel like your existence is a minefield. Wherever you step, it seems like it will explode and blow you to pieces. Perhaps you have cried in silence, either in your room staring at the ceiling or on your living room couch contemplating the floor. You lament being born as yourself. Perhaps you've wondered what would have happened if you had been born someone else instead. However, with every morning you wake up, You look in the mirror and still see your reflection as someone special, not necessarily special to everyone, but rather special to yourself. Despite so many negative thoughts, you continue to sabotage yourself, causing harm, becoming your own nemesis. You are special to yourself because no matter how overwhelmed you are and how bad you feel, you still keep trying, struggling, going against the tide. Some days you wake up fine, but other days are bad, filled with negative thoughts, those forbidden thoughts. These thoughts are only holding you back, and in the future, they could evolve into more serious illnesses, leading you into depression or anxiety. Maybe you have your job, and your daily routine is to wake up in the morning, have breakfast, go to work, come back, play a video game or watch a series or movie, then go to sleep to do the same thing the next day. You fall into monotony, and this last word, monotony, carries more weight than it seems. Monotony, while it often makes you feel comfortable, can also make you feel useless many times. It can make you lose the color of life, as doing the same thing every day makes you see in black and white, without nuances. However, it's nothing more than your brain screaming for a change of routine, to do something different, telling you that you must live. You may also feel useless because you don't meet your own expectations from when you were a child, which often continue to be our expectations as adults. Suddenly, you might think that your 15-year-old self is disappointed in you. You didn't fulfill what you promised, said that in the future, you would have a car, money, or a partner. Perhaps you promised to be the best basketball player or the next great football player who would make history. Suddenly, you couldn't fulfill the promise of being a great Hollywood actor or that great entrepreneur you always wanted to be. Nevertheless, despite all this, you are still alive, your heart still pumps blood, and even when you wake up, you see the sun through the window, you can smell the coffee you drink, taste a delicious meal, move from one place to another, you still have consciousness, you are alive. This means that you still have a chance. However, each person's situation is different, and it is difficult to pass judgment on such a profound feeling as the feeling of uselessness. Maybe in your case, you don't have all your limbs, or you don't have all your senses. Perhaps you feel that your dreams are unattainable, that you feel that the child who expected so much is disappointed in you. However, as long as you keep trying to get where you promised yourself to be, rest assured that the child you made the promise to will be happy. It doesn't matter if you have to break all socially imposed rules, if your dream is not to get married but to be a farmer, surrounded by animals, and you have no interest in being romantically involved with anyone, break that social rule. Even if people think you're a failure, and they whisper behind your back that you will die alone, you are living your life. You are building your own rules and rewriting the imposed social rules. Or maybe you're not interested in making money, you just want to lead a simple life, fall in love, have children, and live in a peaceful house. People will then say that you are a conformist, but you feel calm because you are already following your own rules, and you know where you are going. People will always talk and whisper regardless of what you do. Most of the time, humans feel useless for not meeting the life expectations of other humans. However, they forget the small detail that your life belongs to you and no one else. People end up making money just to prove to others that they made money. They buy the most expensive car to show others that they bought the best car. These people end up living appearances and living a life that is not theirs. They end up living a life that belongs to everyone, working for other people because they have the desire to show these people their new luxuries. Finally, if more than a feeling of uselessness, you feel depressed, anxious, or both, it's best to see a therapist. Someone to guide you and show you which way to walk so that you don't explode in that minefield you feel under your feet every time you make a decision. In today's society, depression is seen as something unimportant. It seems that all empathy with people has been lost. Now people only look out for themselves. And it's not wrong. Sometimes you must always put yourself first and then others. However, this has evolved beyond that. It has evolved into selfishness. But remember that the important thing is to be at peace with yourself, do your things, move forward, take your routes, live the process, and don't stop. The best day to do things was yesterday, the next best day is today.